Welcome to the Transformation Debrief. I'm Chris Hood, a digital strategist at Google Cloud and your host. In each episode, we aim to stir visionary thinking and share unexpected insights on transformation initiatives and lessons learned along the way. CNA is one of the largest U.S. commercial property and casualty insurance companies with roots dating back to 1897. The insurance industry experienced a noticeable impact in 2020, with overall growth declining by 3% and profits falling by 15% from the year before. In 2021, both CNA and the industry began to rebound with a huge focus on technology, growing investments in data, machine learning, APIs, and the cloud from $7.2 billion in 2019 to $14.6 billion in 2021. To discuss these trends and CNA's journey through them, I am joined today by Richard Wein and Santosh Bardwaj. Welcome, both of you. Would you mind sharing a little bit about yourselves and your roles at CNA?
Rich Wein. I am a vice president and actuary here at CNA.
I'm Santosh Bardwaj, Senior Vice President and the Global Chief Data and Analytics Officer at CNA Insurance.
We ask all of our guests on the show the same question, and I'm curious to hear what you both have to say. What was the most transformative role or decision in your career to date, and why?
The most impactful role for me was the one that led to my own personal transformation, where I had an opportunity to expand my transformation experience beyond just technology to the other pillars of transformation, namely people, value, and culture.
So for me, the most transformational role that I've been a part of has really been getting involved in this cloud data and analytics transformation. You know, as we embarked on this, we really had to embrace the gray, right? There's no right answers here. There's no wrong answers here. We have to test and learn and iterate quickly. And for me, that new way of working, that new way of looking at things has truly been transformational on my outlook and how I work with my teams.
I think oftentimes we talk about transformation as a technological type of initiative. But really, when we even talk about digital transformation, it's not solely about technology, the people and the processes, as you just mentioned. So how are you approaching that now at CNA?
So we are a 125-year-old organization with a lot of data. And we want to use this opportunity to build a truly scalable foundation on the cloud. And more important, to leverage automation as a way for us to accelerate our migration to the cloud. For instance, just over a year ago, we probably had less than 10% of our migration patterns automated. Today, over 80% of our data migration is automated. And this has helped significantly compress our migration timelines by more than half. Another area in the foundation is the partnership we are having with Google right now, where we're building a model factory, which is an assembly line for predictive models on Vertex AI, which should help us significantly improve our time to market. And the third part of it, or the foundation, is really building a very mature governance and a comprehensive data catalog, which includes not just the content in terms of the metadata, but very useful business context that really makes this a self-serve experience. So in terms of talent, our flexible work program really carries forward that everything that we've learned over the last few years, allowing us to meet the evolving needs of our customers and supporting new ways of really with a focus on our employees. So both across CNA and analytics, we really empower employees to work in a very highly flexible and collaborative way, give them access to the best tools, very challenging problems to work on and very exciting. But the most important is to really build a very inclusive culture.
Richard, I want to go back to something you said and connect the dots here. That last one, change. And in your intro, you were mentioning the gray area. And for a 125-year-old company, there's probably a lot of gray area when it comes to change and understanding the dynamics of cloud transformation and data transformation and the culture that Santosh was just talking about. How do you look at that from your perspective?
If you think about, right, we are a mature organization. We have a mature data stack. We have mature reports and dashboards and all sorts of sort of data capabilities. But really what this means and what we thought about as we started to use this, again, iterating quickly, right, and learning, because, again, we knew that we were heading into a new area for us as an organization, is how do we create an insights platform that connects everything that's happening day to day across our organization, across different functional areas, across different perspectives and backgrounds into one area that we can use and leverage those insights to optimize what we're doing. And build it in a way that we know we're going to iterate, right? Delivering minimally viable products, iterate quickly, sort of prove things out, and then execute on them. And as I think about, some of the early wins we've had, they're really focused on connecting all of the aspects of what, for example, might lead to us servicing our customer by issuing a policy, right? All the different components of that, how do we connect everything everyone's doing so that we have insights on that across the entire organization?
I'm curious from your perspective, we talk about transformation as a broad topic, but really when we dive into like data and cloud and digital and cultural, there's a lot of different flavors of transformation. Do you look at those differently?
So I honestly think these are all connected. I mean, let's just pick on digital transformation, right? So I honestly see data and analytics transformation as sort of this essential connective tissue that really enables an organization to digitally transform itself. So let me give a couple of examples. I'm going to pick on a couple of themes that Rich highlighted. One is around interconnectivity. So when we made a decision to migrate to the cloud, there were two choices we had. Number one, the fastest path would have been for us just to copy what we've had on-premise and just migrate to the cloud. Quite honestly, I think we probably would have been the fastest way to get our data to the cloud. But one of the things I think it is very important as you approach transformation is you need to really figure out what is the outcome that you want and start working backwards from it. So if the goal here was really to create a 360 view across the global organization and interconnectivity, migrating a 20-year-old data stack to the cloud would probably have given us very little benefits in terms of transformation. So we really decided to use this approach to really build a foundation ground up.
How are you taking your consumer base into consideration as you're walking through some of these interconnectivity options and data processes and end-to-end life cycles that you're building at CNA?
Really, our end goal is to make things better for our customers, for our agents and brokers that work with us, what we call our internal customers, right? The business areas that we serve. So really, as we think about these products, right, and the vision, that's the starting point, right? Where do we want to go? What do we want to be able to do? And then iterating in the form of minimally viable products, testing, learning, getting feedback, all the way on the way there, leveraging these new capabilities, and then getting a little bit better each time in that direction.
So I'm going to ask a very challenging question here. And if we were to say, what is the one thing that you think contributes most to that speed to market? Was it a technology change or shift, or was it a cultural shift that helped you accomplish it? Which one would you say?
So obviously technology plays a huge role in terms of automation. But I think the biggest change, for me, is really the cultural and mindset. So I'm going to give an example. So I talked about the automation story in terms of the progress we've made over the last 12 to 15 months. So now, for instance, like every 3 weeks, my team, does a demo before Rich and I to really talk about the progress. So there's almost like every team is trying to outcompete each other in a friendly way to say, hey, look at the things that we have automated. And those are things now we don't even ask people to do anymore. It's sort of built into the bedrock. It's built into the foundation. It's really an automation-first approach that people are taking to evolve technology. Yes, there's technology behind it, but for me, the more impressive thing and the thing that's really going to have a huge impact on us is really the change in mindset.
I love that example. I actually have heard of another customer who have these little tournaments internally to see how much they can automate. So just that initiative to bring the developers the opportunity to do something that contributes to the organization as a whole is tremendous. Richard, what do you think?
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. And I'd add culturally too, right? The biggest difference is that recognizing that a minimally viable product is a minimally viable product. It's not perfect yet, right? And by getting that feedback earlier on, you iterate much more quickly towards something that's valuable for the user. And again, culturally, right, that takes a lot of trust between the user base, between your customers and you, making sure that they know, right, that there's aspects of it that aren't that polished yet, but we're looking for your feedback, and we're going to take your feedback and bring that back and integrate it into what we're doing. So culturally, that's very, very important as well on top of the technology. And it all kind of comes together to rapidly increase the speed with which we can deploy these things.
Thank you, Richard, for your time today.
Thank you.
And thank you, Santosh.
Thanks for having us.
If you would like to learn more about CNA, we have 2 channels for you to explore. At cloud.google.com/transform, we dive deeper into this transformation journey, and you can tune into That Digital Show to hear the extended podcast version of this conversation. And don't forget to hit subscribe and join us again for more visionary thinking and lessons learned on the next episode of the Transformation Debrief.